Hi everybody. With the school year starting back, I thought I would do a video on why I decided to homeschool. So, excuse how I look, excuse my hair, and excuse that roaring sound that you hear. When Hurricane Irma came through, our basement flooded, and so 2 days we've been having to, after they sopped up all the water and cleared it all out, we're having to do the fans and the blowers down there. But anyway, we're fine, we're safe. But my kids are already graduated, and my daughter, Nikki, she's in school to be a nurse. So they started out in the public school system, and let me just start with my nephew. He's the oldest of the grandchildren on my mom's side. I helped raise him. My sister sang and traveled with the gospel group with my dad, and so they were gone a lot, and so I kind of helped raise him. So the teachers and all knew me just like they knew her and everything. So when Brandon started kindergarten, his kindergarten teacher, that was her very first year of teaching, and so she had all of our kids. But anyway, I'll get to that in just a minute. So my kids did start off in the public school system, and we've lived here roughly 22 years. And when we moved back here, back home from Alabama, and moved to this little town, we had a Walmart and a Burger King and a Kmart, and that was about it. But we have grown so much over the years. I can remember being little, and the bridge is still there, so being teeny tiny, driving down the main highway, which we're right off, the little bridge that you cross where the main town is, that say don't blink or you'll miss it, you know, because we were so small, the town was. But we've grown now, and kind of getting out on the weekends, main roads, you're just going to be stuck in traffic. It's awful. But we have everything. Anyway, so our little school, when it came time for Alex to start school, of course he had the same kindergarten teacher, and we loved her to death and loved the parapro in there. And so my kids took after me. They were very shy, would not talk a lot, and I know most of you thinking, oh well, you know, most mothers will say that. No, I could get their teachers right now, and they would tell me they would love to get on to them for talking too much, you know, very shy. And Alex, I've explained in other videos how at 2 years old he could write his name and everything. So kindergarten came, and they were ready to just go ahead and skip him a grade, and we've actually had talked about that. But she said when the testing come up, they would do the testing and see how it would go from there. So that's the year that the big testing debate in our state came up, that there was mistakes, there was cheating found and all kind of stuff. It was a whole statewide thing. They weren't going to count none of the tests and everything. So the teacher said one thing that held Alex back was because he was so shy, and they wanted him to be just a little bit more outgoing. So, okay, that's fine, you know, I get it, and I really didn't, you know, want him moving up a lot and everything. So first grade came, and it was pretty much the same talk all the time. They would call me in for a conference and say, you know, he really needs to be moved on up, and so let's see how the testing and all goes this year. And he would always test above average and all kind of stuff, but you know, he needs to be more social. He needs to not be so shy. And you know, and we would, you know, Alex had friends. It's just he'd be like, Mama, I can't talk. They tell us not to talk or I'll get in trouble. And like, I don't know why he was so scared of getting in trouble, but he just didn't want to talk. Even when I was there and helping and assisting and doing everything, like I couldn't even get him to talk to me. But he was very well loved in school, and he had a lot of friends and stuff. And then when it came time, the way Nikki's birthday fell, I could have held her out another year, or she could have started kindergarten like a year early. It's the way that her birthday fell. And so I was at school, and their kindergarten teacher, and I don't want to give her name out, she's like, well, I'm ready to have Nikki this year. You know, I've done had all three of them, my sisters two and mine, because once Brandon started, every year there was a grandchild in the school. And I'm like, no, I'm going to keep her home with me. You know, I've been doing her pre-K stuff and all at home. I'm going to keep her home with me another year. And she says, well, I'm sorry, you're not. She said, I've done signed her up, and I'm getting her this year. And we kind of went back and forth on that. I'm like, no, I want to keep her home another year. But, you know, she convinced me and stuff. And so we went ahead and let Nikki start. And so when Alex was in 3rd grade, his teacher called me in for another conference, and it's the same old conference that I've been hearing. She goes, Brenda, he needs to be moved on up. Says he's just not getting everything that he needs to get here. Remember, we're just this little country school. You know, she said, there is a school for the gifted. It's a couple of counties over. I can help you get him enrolled there. You know, there's no busing or nothing. You would have to take him there. And I was already taking my kids to and from school. And I'm like, there's no way I could get him to that school and then my daughter to this school. You know, that was just a lot. And she was like, you know, really think about it, because he's just, you know, he's too smart to be in this class. And I'm not trying to brag or anything. That's just what these conferences were. You know, he's just too smart. He's just this. He's just that. Now, when our children started going to this school, the principal there was awesome. We all loved him. He was super nice. And even at the award ceremony, you know, Alex would win every award that there was. You know, he was just so nice, even with the other kids, and would talk to them and hug them and play with them, and they loved him. He was just the best principal that ever was, until things changed. Got another principal. It was a lady principal, and come to find out, her husband was the superintendent of schools. None of us liked her. She was rude. She was not very friendly. None of the kids liked her. Honestly, none of the teachers liked her. Now, while my kids were in school, I was pretty much in school too. I would go like before Christmas holidays and stuff, and when the teachers would have a lot of meetings and stuff to go to, I would go take over the class and would teach, and we would do the little kits that you can get from Oriental Trading. You know, we would make little Christmas ornaments with the class and stuff, and everything. And like the other students knew me too. You know, I was Miss Rowland. A lot of them I just say, call me Cricket, you know. And you would always have this one student who, when you was there, she's just going to stick to you like glue. You know, she's going to be the teacher's pet. And one day I was taking them out to field day, and some of the students started running ahead, and she'd be like, don't worry, Miss Rowland, I'll go tend to them. You know, that it was cute. And she was in Alex's class ever since kindergarten, so I knew her mom, and everything. But it was just always the same old, you know, he needs to be moved up, he needs to be this, but we don't have this here, and we don't have that here. And he's so shy. So when Nikki started, and kindergarten, and then 1st grade, and that's when the new principal came, honestly, and I just don't want to badmouth somebody, but I mean, we didn't like her. And there was an incident that happened with Nikki in kindergarten that just for her, Nikki's private rights and our private rights, I'm not going to go into it. But we needed to either file a lawsuit, and it was nothing that the teachers did. But, you know, the principal wanted to handle it, and that's how the school board said, let's just try to handle it within school. She was all right during that, but just kind of the way things were handled. Anyway, we didn't kind of like that. And she decided that there would be no talking in the lunchroom at all. So she said she was going to play music, and once the music played, everyone had to be quiet. Once the music was off, they could talk. Now, okay, we can understand your concept. Some of the students are sitting there not eating and cutting up and stuff, but really that was their only time to talk. And I know that sometimes they may get a little loud, but even at the table I was sitting on, you know, I would try to keep the kids, you know, concentrated on what they were doing and stuff. But us parents really didn't like that. And so at PTA meetings, we left one PTA meeting with fights. There was actually fighting going on because she just would not listen to nothing. It was going to be her way, and she didn't care about nothing. Her husband was the superintendent of schools. Do what you will, ain't nothing going to happen. And she was just making so many changes, and it was just, oh my goodness, it was just awful. So back to the lunchroom. She hired a lunchroom monitor, okay? And she just hired this woman off the street. So, none of us liked her. This woman was not friendly at all. Now, I would sit most of the times and go have lunch with my kids. And I would see her do things that was just alarming. Remember, these are elementary school young kids. I was sitting there one day, and one child, you know how they'll sit on one of their legs? I watched her go up and slap that boy's leg out from under him. Oh, I about came unglued. And, I mean, she was just the rudest. She should not have been working with children. Now, the school secretary, we all loved her. We all begged her, you need to take over this school. I mean, we loved her. There was nobody better. She was awesome. And I would would go talk to her about that, and she didn't agree with what was going on in the lunchrooms. And so I got in touch with the other parents. I'm like, come up here and just have lunch with your kids and watch what's going on. And they would see things too that was just alarming to them. And we would go and we would complain, but this lady, this principal, wouldn't have it, wouldn't listen to it. And so one day, I wasn't able to make it up to the school. And when I went and picked my kids up from school, after school was over, my daughter was crying and very upset and said that her head hurt. Well, I'm going to stop it right here because this is probably so long as it is. I will continue the video so you'll see me in the same thing in the same way. But I don't want it to be too long. But I'm going to stop the story right here. And then I'll come out with part 2. And so if you enjoy this, let me know. And thanks for watching. Bye, y'all.